What is the difference between a home and a prison? A home is where you can leave and re-enter whenever you want to. So, whereas a prison, you can go in, but you can't leave when you want to. And that is the problem. So, the body, mind, and intellect have been given to us. We reside in them, but we are not the body, mind, and intellect. And we should, at all times, retain the flexibility, the freedom to leave when we want and re-enter whenever we want. That is the state of a Jnani. A Jnani is one who operates with the body, mind, and intellect when necessary and retreats into the realm of Atman, Brahman, when it is not necessary. We don't have that. So, the body, mind, and intellect have become a prison. Those who are free, see, it's not the fact that you are in the body, mind, and intellect that matters. What matters is that you are not bound by them. You are not limited by them. You are not constricted by the body, mind, and intellect. You should not be. Whereas today, we are totally enslaved by them. See, the body means sense objects and organs of action. Sense organs and organs of action. So the sense organs are constantly going out into the world demanding sense enjoyment. And you fall a prey to that. You succumb to these demands. Same thing, the mind demands emotional feeding by relationships. And again, you succumb to them. And the intellect wants ideas and ideologies, you succumb. So, as a result of that, what happens is, you become enslaved, your personality gets distorted, enslaved because you cannot function beyond the demands of the body, mind, intellect. Emotional attachment distorts your personality. When a mother is terribly attached to the child, her entire personality gets distorted because she then becomes a puppet in the hands of the child. Your vision is distorted, your judgment goes out of the window, everything goes wrong when you are enslaved by the mind and or intellect for that matter. And then it sabotages your talent. You could be an extremely talented musician, artist, an engineer, scientist. All of that goes out of the window when that enslavement happens. So you waste your time. Your talent gets completely lost because of this enslavement, the distortion, and the attachments that you have. So now the question is, how to break free? How do you break free? Exactly like a prisoner in a prison, how does he break free? You know, there's a beautiful movie called Lock Up, a Hollywood movie. It's about a prisoner who is condemned to life in a prison wrongly. And the difference between him and the other prisoners is, from the day one, from the moment he enters the prison, he never forgets that his real life is outside the prison. So, all his focus is on life outside the prison. He knows there's a wife waiting for him. He knows his life is there outside. And this is a temporary sojourn for whatever reason. So, whenever he meets with challenges in the prison, like for instance, when he's extremely hungry, he gets his plate and it's not like a buffet, you don't get to eat what you want, you are given a certain amount of food. And as he's about to start eating, he's ravenously hungry, another prisoner comes and takes away his food. He's angry. and is about to start a fight with that other prisoner. Then he remembers, my mission is to get out of this prison as quickly as possible. If I end up having a fight, it will go against my record. And then he tells himself, what difference does it make if I don't have one meal in this prison? As long as I can get out fast. So, this should be our focus. The first thing that you must understand is that you are bound, you are in a prison. And there must be that intense desire to get out of it, to get out of this enslavement of the body, mind and intellect. And that is called mumukshatva. Once you have that mumukshatva, the rest falls in place. Meanwhile, you are in this prison. The reality is that transact with the prison activities to the extent necessary, but detachedly, just as that prisoner did. So he made friends with other prisoners. They had to do something with themselves. So he got all of them together, and there was a car in the yard there, in the prison yard, which wasn't working. It was completely broken down. So he got his friends together and they worked on that car and they got it to absolutely spanking new condition. So work you have to do. What work will you do? Whatever you are talented in, you do, but you're not involved because your focus is on getting out of the prison as quickly as possible. So therefore, that is what you should do. You must work, act, you must feel with your emotions, you must think with your intellect, only to get out of this prison as quickly as possible. And then, so therefore, this makes for objectivity. As we've seen in the last 2 days, it is only when you're objective that you can be successful, and it's only when you're objective that you can be happy. Today, it is not that there's anything wrong with the world. That is the nature of the world. The world has been the same for centuries. It will continue to be the same for another million years. The only difference is that because we have lost our objectivity, and objectivity is a function of spiritual development. Since our spiritual level is so low, and we have no concept of anything beyond this prison, beyond the world, whatever little we meet with, whatever little we transact with, we get totally involved there. And that makes for, number 1, failure, number 2, misery, sorrow, pain, trauma, depression. So all that we are going through is not because the world is throwing challenges at us. Many people say, oh, the world has become so difficult. The world is not difficult. You are making your life difficult by not getting to objectivity. So you must understand. Like for instance, for example, because as David Frawley says, and it is a fact, for centuries, the Indians have unfortunately lived in an environment of deprivation. So we haven't had enough of the good things of life. So, for instance, my generation was brought up, and the one before mine was brought up in an environment of rationing. When we were young, sugar was rationed, rice was rationed, wheat was rationed, milk was rationed. The basic necessities of life were rationed. The present generation doesn't even know the spelling of rationing, right? Because they've been brought up in plenty, at least the affluent ones. So, even though you may experience affluence materially, the mind is still in a poverty framework. So what is it that we do? Not only in India, anywhere in the world there could be millionaires. The moment there is free food, grab it. I don't understand the psychology. When you have enough, when you can afford to eat the best food, why would you want to grab something just because it's free? I know in America people say, oh, on a Sunday, this temple you must go to. Why? Because they give free lunch. And whenever food is available, grab, grab, grab. It's very sad. But now, if you're objective, you'll understand. What will you understand? That the Indian mindset is still in poverty. And therefore, they will behave like that. Unrefined, uncultured people will behave like that. Grab. In America, it doesn't happen. Americans don't grab just because it's free. If they're hungry, they eat. If they're not hungry, they leave it. So, when you're objective, these things do not affect you.